Although Sasuke's plan is wonderful, even Orochimaru admired Sasuke, but the smile on Orochimaru's face did not disappear. Instead, the smile became even colder, just when Sasuke took Dasna to the distance quickly with a flash. Suspicion flashed in Sasuke's eyes, because the system did not remind him that the task was completed. This shows that Orochimaru can still chase after the injury, but Sasuke thinks it is unlikely. Although his own chakra has increased, even so Orochimaru is unlikely to keep up with his lightning speed. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Even the current state can only be maintained for a few minutes. But a few minutes was enough for Sasuke to get a long way. And after a short rest, Sasuke recovers a part of chakra, and can continue to turn on the lightning. Now Sasuke can really feel the changes brought about by his excellent physique. Although not all at once, let Sasuke's chakra surge wildly. But this terrifying battery life almost surprised Sasuke. The speed of restoring chakra is extremely fast, although it cannot be fully restored in one go. But at any rate, it can recover about 1/3. Afterwards the recovery rate will drop dramatically. But 1/3 of the amount of chakra is pretty good for Sasuke. Now Sasuke's chakra total recovery of 1/3 can barely support Sasuke to fight for a few minutes. But what if in the future, as the amount of Sasuke chakra increases, the recovery of 1/3 of the chakra will be different? 1/3 of 100 and 1/3 of 10 are completely different concepts. Thinking of this, Sasuke has no fear in his heart now, even if it is Sannin. Although it is impossible for the current self to defeat Orochimaru, but it is not too difficult to escape from Orochimaru. As long as he doesn't want to stay, even Sannin has no way to keep himself. This is the power of lightning style, divine speed. Thinking of it, a smile appeared on Sasuke's face involuntarily. What Sasuke didn't notice, however, was that Dasna was supposed to be in a coma on his shoulder. But at this moment, Dasna suddenly opened his eyes. There was a cold look in his eyes. Such a look did not resemble that of Dasna himself. In the next second, Dasna slowly raised his head. Eyes locked on Sasuke's neck. In the next second, when Sasuke maintained his full concentration and moved forward rapidly. Suddenly Dasna seemed to go crazy, and his neck suddenly stretched. Bite Commander's assistant's left shoulder directly. The tingling sensation from his shoulder instantly lifted Sasuke's flashy state. And the whole person directly hit a big tree due to inertia. Boom! Sasuke stopped and looked down at his left shoulder after standing still. There are 2 blood holes on it. Sasuke raised his head in disbelief and looked forward. Dasna, who was supposed to be thrown to death lying on the ground, was already twisted into twists. However, his limbs slowly recovered. Immediately after stretching, the body seemed to spring up suddenly. The neck begins to lengthen. Dasna stood up, as if a piece of skin had fallen off his face. Revealing the pale skin inside, Sasuke's eyes kept shrinking. He looked at the Dasna in front of him. It wasn't Dasna at all. This is Orochimaru. Using the transformation technique, this guy turned into a Dasna. Damn. To be cheated. Sasuke underestimated Orochimaru so much that he deliberately set up the most blatant trap, but in reality it was just Dasna transformed into transformation technique. In the trap that can be seen through at a glance, there is a deeper trap hidden. In this case, Sasuke's upshift is inevitable. Uchiha Sasuke-kun, you really surprised me. I didn't expect to be able to snatch this old guy from my hands. But unfortunately, the person you are looking for is not here at all. Sasuke wanted to stand up, but suddenly the vision is blurry. It happened. Sasuke looked down at the strange 3-hook jade pattern on his left shoulder. This pattern Sasuke could not be more clear. Heaven's curse seal. Sure enough, Orochimaru is aiming for my body. It's just that Sasuke didn't understand why he planted the curse mark of the sky in advance at this time. Shouldn't the seal of the heavenly curse be planted during the Chunin exam? How could it be? Like this. As for the seal of the sky, one of them began to transform Sasuke's body. Sasuke felt his consciousness getting heavier and heavier now. Plop. Just fainted. Orochimaru smiled. After planting the curse seal, it can last for so long. It seems that the special place is not only your talent. Even the physique is so different. Orochimaru looked at where Sasuke's heavenly seal was. This time it was Orochimaru's turn to be surprised. Because Sasuke's heavenly curse seal is perfectly integrated. This still has never happened before. Everyone's compatibility with the curse seal is different, and the average person can't even integrate 5%. and a ninja with a slightly better physique can barely reach about 20%. Only some very special people can fuse more than 60%. Only more than 60% can barely meet the requirements of Orochimaru's reincarnation. In an ideal state, it would be perfect if the fusion was close to 80%. So far, Kimimaro is the one with the highest compatibility with the curse seal, which can reach 86%. However, even Kimimaro as compared to Sasuke, the fit is not enough either. Sasuke actually perfectly integrated the curse seal. In the words of Orochimaru, infinitely close to 99%. This is simply a perfect body. Orochimaru smiled, laughing very crazy. There was a cold light in his eyes. A man of the Uchiha clan, so well suited to his spell. Is it God's will that Orochimaru can also get Sharingan's blood inheritance limit? And this person is also Uchiha Itachi's younger brother. Fate is so wonderful sometimes. Orochimaru smiled. However, it will take some time for the curse seal to transform Sasuke's body. At present, Orochimaru has no way to complete the reincarnation. Glancing at the unconscious Sasuke on the ground, a big snake suddenly emerged from the bushes beside Orochimaru, and the big snake spit out a person. This person is Dazna. Orochimaru slapped the big snake's head in fear. Goodbye, Sasuke-kun. Next time we meet, I hope you can become the perfect state in my ideal. Orochimaru slowly disappeared into the forest. At this time, in the direction of Kakashi, Kimimaro also received an order to retreat from Orochimaru. His current state is not very good. There are 2 huge holes on his body. If it weren't for Dead Bone Pulse's powerful physique, Kimimaro would have died. That the worst person is Kakashi. There were blood holes left by bone spurs all over his body, and 2 extremely thick bone spurs were left on his back. With the continuous flow of blood, Kakashi's physical strength is also rapidly declining. His chakra is also in a hurry, and now he and Kimimaro are in a 6-4 situation. And Kimimaro glanced at Kakashi. He took back the bone blade in his hand. You're lucky today. Next time, I hope to be able to tell the winner. After finishing speaking, Kimimaro backed away slowly, clutching his chest and jumped straight away. Kakashi also coughed up a mouthful of blood. Why? You left suddenly. Looking at the bone spurs left on the ground, Kakashi frowned. This guy is the Toru Yoruichi of Mist Shinobi. There are still remnants of the tribe alive. Dead Bone Pulse. Is this the power of Dead Bone Pulse? It's really hard to deal with. It was the first time that Kakashi encountered a ninja with this kind of blood succession limit, and Kakashi suffered a big loss when he was unprepared. Otherwise things should be much better. At least it won't be so embarrassing. Suddenly Kakashi looked up in the direction Sasuke left. Damn it, could it be Sasuke? The enemy blade suddenly retreated under the advantage, which only shows that the enemy's goal has been achieved. Fortunately, Naruto and the others said that the worst case is that little Sakura cannot get timely treatment. Maybe little Sakura will die because of it, but Sasuke is different. Death is good. If Sasuke is captured by the enemy, it is really bad. Thinking of this, Kakashi didn't care about the injuries on his body. Quickly got up and quickly searched in the direction Sasuke left before. Soon after, Kakashi did manage to find Sasuke. At the same time, after seeing the traces of the surrounding battles, Kakashi could imagine what a fierce battle Sasuke had been through. At the same time, Dazna was still breathing, just fell into a coma. Seeing such a scene, Kakashi sighed softly. I didn't expect that Hitaki Kakashi would have such embarrassing moments when performing tasks. Not to mention that he was injured. 2 of the leading genin did not know the situation. 1 chakra was exhausted and comatose, and the mission target almost died. I haven't practiced for a long time. Have I become weak? Kakashi couldn't help but start to doubt himself. With Sasuke on his back and Dazna on his shoulders, Kakashi now has no choice but to rush to the land of waves. Let Sasuke and Dazna receive simple treatment, while his own injuries need to be dealt with. Although none of them were fatal injuries, with so many injuries added up, even Kakashi could barely hold on. In 1 hour, Kakashi brought Dazna and Sasuke to the land of waves as quickly as possible. Everyone here seems to be waiting for Dazna's return. After Kakashi briefly explained the situation, the people in Nami country quickly arranged a room for Kakashi and Sasuke to rest. And brought a lot of medicine for medical use, although it's just some herbal medicine or something. But enough for Kakashi. Simply feed Sasuke some liquid food, and then wait for Sasuke to wake up. Dazna woke up quite quickly. He was just knocked out, and he didn't suffer any serious injuries at all. And Sasuke fell asleep for a whole day. During this time Kakashi was very worried about Naruto and little Sakura, but there was no way to leave. After all, in the Kingdom of Waves, there is still a Peachland that may appear at any time. If he leaves at this time and doesn't come after him, then Sasuke will be finished. Now Kakashi understands. This country is controlled by a person named Kato, and the people of Bo Kingdom want to find a way out, only to build a bridge leading to the Fire Kingdom. Otherwise, they will be trapped in Kato's hands forever. And Kato naturally wouldn't want these people to build a bridge. So ninjas are hired to stop this. If you don't cut it again, it is probably the ninja invited by Kaduo. As for the two ninjas who suddenly appeared later, Kakashi is now sure that the other party has other plans. Their purpose is not Dazna. Otherwise, Dazna should have been killed when he was taken away. Don't even think about leaving alive. It is also impossible for Sasuke to survive. But Kakashi doesn't know what the other party's purpose is. He hasn't found the curse mark of the sky on Sasuke's body yet. In the evening, Sasuke slowly opened his eyes. He looked blankly at everything around him. Have you been saved? Although the house looked dilapidated, at least it wasn't some kind of underground laboratory. Explained that Orochimaru did not take him. Sasuke's movement caught the attention of Kakashi outside the door. He pushed open the door. Looking at Sasuke, who woke up, "You're finally awake." Hearing this, Sasuke asks what happened after Kakashi. Kakashi said it briefly. The purpose of these two ninjas is not Dazna. They are not ninjas hired by Kato. Sasuke nodded. But what is their purpose? Purpose? Isn't the purpose to plant a curse seal on yourself? Sasuke clenched his fist lightly. He didn't want Orochimaru's curse mark at all. Although it can gain powerful power for a short time, Sasuke doesn't like this way. The more you use the power of the seal, the body will gradually be damaged and transformed by the seal. Eventually became a container of Orochimaru. Sasuke doesn't want to be Orochimaru's container. And among Orochimaru's curse seals, there is Orochimaru's chakra. It is equivalent to his every move, which can be seen by Orochimaru in the spell seal. Sasuke doesn't want to have an Orochimaru with him. But now Sasuke doesn't want to tell Kakashi either. He had to try to see if he could find a way to erase the curse mark. With the existence of the system, perhaps it is not impossible. Sasuke. Now there is a serious problem. No news from Naruto and little Sakura yet. I'm worried they're in some trouble. Saying that, Kakashi looked outside the door again, but the target of the mission, Dazna, may also be attacked by Zabuzan again. After all, he didn't die if he didn't kill him last time. Once we leave, Dazna will definitely be killed, and even this family may die. Whether to choose a mission or a companion, this is what Kakashi is struggling with. Influenced by father's past, you can choose whatever you want, as long as you do your best. But Sasuke's eyes suddenly light up now. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, successfully rescued Dazna. Close black lens bracket. Reward. A genin gift pack. Open black lens bracket. Whether to open close black lens bracket is the task completed. That's good, otherwise it wouldn't be worth it if the task has not been completed, not to mention being planted by Orochimaru. Sasuke looked up at Kakashi, who was struggling. Why do you have to choose? Hearing this, Kakashi glanced at Sasuke. He thought it was because Sasuke was too young to understand the key. People will face many choices, and such choices will eventually appear. When one day has to choose between the two, at that time, Sasuke will probably understand. I want to find Naruto and the others, and I want to complete the task smoothly. Since you think about it, just do it. Sasuke spoke suddenly, and stood up slowly. Now Sasuke could feel the surge of chakra in his body. Compared with before, a part of chakra has increased again. Sasuke glanced at the system. Open black lens bracket. Chakra amount, less close black lens bracket. Now the system's evaluation of Sasuke chakra has changed from rare to less. Although it is only a small change, it represents that Sasuke's chakra volume has entered another stage. At least it is no longer the state where just a few ninjutsu will be exhausted as before. Ms. Kakashi, go find Naruto and the others, leave it to me here. Hearing this, Kakashi looked up at Sasuke. You. Leave it to me. If you don't cut it last time, you will almost be defeated by me. This time I will do better than last time. Kakashi frowned, although Sasuke's strength is indeed not bad. But the last time he didn't chop again, it could be said that he was caught by surprise. And this time, if I don't chop again, if I come to the door again, I will definitely be prepared. At that time, if Sasuke is left here alone to deal with it, I'm afraid. Teacher, people will always grow, trust me, not cutting again is a very good practical target for Sasuke. And now Sasuke is also confident that he will never be beaten again. The only thing to worry about is that Zai Yuzan still has a helper, Bai. Although Bai is not very strong, his blood inheritance limit is a troublesome thing. Sasuke looked at Kakashi seriously. For a while, Kakashi seemed to be persuaded by Sasuke. Kakashi looked at the bandages on his body. The wound Kimimaro left him would not heal in a day. Unlike Sasuke, he just fell asleep in a coma. In terms of combat effectiveness, the current Sasuke may indeed be stronger than him. It is good. I'll leave it to you this time, Sasuke. I'm really worried about the situation of Naruto and little Sakura. In addition, Naruto's situation is special. As Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Naruto is absolutely not allowed to have trouble. Otherwise Kakashi will become Konoha's sinner. Not only Nine Tails, Naruto is also the son of his mentor. Kakashi can't just let it go. Kakashi go. Before I figured out the situation of the two of them, I was also a little worried. Kakashi nodded. Indeed, he wanted to find Naruto as soon as possible. Saying that, Kakashi walked out of the room and took one last look at Sasuke. Then there is nothing to be hypocritical about, since you have made a choice, just choose to trust Sasuke. Kakashi quickly disappeared, leaving Sasuke in the room, feeling the filling chakra. At the same time Sasuke looked at the interface of the system. Come on. Let me see what rewards the so-called Genin packs have. Open black lens bracket. Open the Genin package. Close black lens bracket. Reward 1, a Genin chakra. For a moment Sasuke felt his chakra surge again. Directly increased by 1/2 of the amount. Now, according to Sasuke's estimation, the amount of chakra should be the same as that of Kakashi. Even more than Kakashi, it has already reached the amount of chakra of Jonin. However, this is the case, and the systematic evaluation is still relatively small. Open black lens bracket. Reward 2, choose 1, close black lens bracket, 1. 4 basic C-level ninjutsu, selected at random, but will meet the chakra attribute of the host to ensure that the host can use it normally. 2. 1 chance to use the ninjutsu laboratory. You can develop a ninjutsu with the highest C level, and the time is not limited. Can you choose which reward you want? This reward makes Sasuke happier than giving it directly to chakra. After using the ninjutsu laboratory once, Sasuke wanted to go in again. However, I don't know when the ninjutsu laboratory will be able to open again. Did not expect to come now. Although there is no time limit this time, only the number of ninjutsu development is limited, and only 1 C-level ninjutsu can be developed at the same time. But the ninjutsu developed by myself is compared with the 4 basic C-level ninjutsu. Don't even think about it. For basic C-level ninjutsu, Sasuke can learn it slowly. But the opportunity to develop ninjutsu by oneself is not easy to come across. I choose the second reward. Congratulations to the author for getting a chance to use the ninjutsu laboratory. Open black lens bracket. Entering the ninjutsu lab. Close black lens bracket. Boom. Feeling the same as last time, Sasuke came to the ninjutsu laboratory. No surprises this time, just get to work. Among several options, Sasuke chose to develop lightning style without hesitation. Sasuke is more interested in lightning style than fire style. After all, controlling lightning is much more cool than controlling flames. Thought C-level ninjutsu was limited, can it make me helpless? Sasuke laughed. Perhaps for others, developing a C-level ninjutsu is just a slight addition of an attack method. But for Sasuke, who is a time traveler, the level is limited, but it doesn't necessarily mean the power is limited. And Sasuke wants to control lightning. With the effect of ordinary lightning style, it is impossible to control lightning at all. So the ninjutsu that Sasuke wants to develop next is completely different from the normal ninjutsu in the past. Of course, there must still be no printing. Okay, let's start. Let's see if my idea can be established. Since it is developing C-level ninjutsu, it is obvious that there cannot be too many pursuits in terms of power. But this is only relative. Sasuke doesn't think so. The so-called level of ninjutsu, in Sasuke's view, is the division of the power and strength of ninjutsu that can erupt. But can't low-level ninjutsu burst out with the power of high-level ninjutsu? Lord Madara extinguished the fire with a blaze, but the water-style ninjas of the United Ninja Army joined hands to release water-style to block it. Is this the power that Hao Huo Mieke should have? Obviously not. It's just because of Madara's own ability that an ordinary fire-style ninjutsu directly exploded with the power comparable to a big move. So that's what Sasuke thinks now. The power of sea-level ninjutsu may be viewed in this way. Spend 100 points of chakra, and burst out the power of 20 points. But if it is a person with 10,000 points of chakra, the power that he can unleash is the same as the power that can be unleashed by a person with 1,000 points of chakra. Definitely can't be exactly the same. With this idea, then Sasuke wants to develop ninjutsu. In terms of power, it may not be possible to pursue stronger power with less chakra. Then while the maximum power can be retained, the increase of power is judged according to how much chakra the user has. Open black lens bracket capturing the thoughts of host, close black lens bracket, open black lens bracket simulating, close black lens bracket. The next second the same blue villain appeared. Immediately afterwards, thunder and lightning began to erupt from its body. It seems to be somewhat similar to the state of turning on lightning style, super speed. But the difference is that this is more like a weakened version. Raising his hand, the thunder and lightning gathered towards the villain's hand, punching out the strengthening effect provided by the thunder and lightning. It made the speed a lot faster, and at the same time increased some of the strength. However, more is to enhance the speed, and the strength is only slightly improved. Because of the limitation, it is not possible to increase the strength too much. However, under the continuous attack of the villain, with his fists, the thunder and lightning concentrated on his fists, and with his legs, he concentrated on his legs. The flow speed of lightning is not so fast, however, the technique Sasuke thought of was more than that. Then the villain stood firm, clasped his palms together and opened them suddenly, and in an instant, thunder and lightning erupted from his palms. A thunderbolt as thick as an arm erupted instantly. It shot directly towards the distance, about 8 meters away. Immediately afterwards, the villain withdrew his hands again, raised his hand and pointed towards the distance. This time the speed of the thunder and lightning has dropped significantly, and at the same time its power has also decreased a lot. Thunder and lightning erupted from the fingertips and shot directly to a place 20 meters away. But knowledge is like a lightning bolt, like a little snake. This is the new lightning style ninjutsu envisioned by Sasuke. It can be perfectly used in 3 different types of battles, near, middle and far. At the same time, this lightning style can give short-term cell stimulation to the parts of the body where lightning erupts. Can enhance speed or strength. Of course, the main enhancement lies in speed, and in terms of strength, sea-level ninjutsu is still not so perfect. The power of lightning style released at the same time depends on the amount of chakra the user has. The stronger the chakra, the more amazing its power. But definitely not as powerful as lightning style, the speed. This is like the difference between a burst of 100 points of chakra damage and a burst of 20 points of damage caused by 100 points of chakra. After watching the little blue man successfully simulate the idea in Sasuke's mind. Immediately afterwards, the sound of the system began to sound. Simulation is successful. Please start the first auxiliary practice. Let's start. Sasuke closed his eyes slowly, carefully feeling the flow of chakra in his body. As chakra begins to erupt, Sasuke clearly felt intense electric currents, as if erupting from his body. In a moment of rapid flow, it began to pour out directly from all parts of Sasuke's body. This feeling is as if there is suddenly hot blood all over the body, rushing out along the blood vessels through the pores. Sasuke opened his eyes to see if there were lightning bursting out from all over his body. Although this kind of explosion is not as fast as lightning style. But with one thought of Sasuke, lightning can be concentrated on any part of the body. Concentrating on the hands can strengthen physical attacks. It can even be extended directly to the weapon, to enhance the attack power of weapons. If it is transmitted to the legs, it can gain a short acceleration. The effect may be a weakened version of the body flicker technique. Although the power of this technique is not too strong, whether it is near, mid-range or far away, the help it provides to Sasuke is still very limited. But if the output of chakra is increased, the power can still be improved. But relatively speaking, spending 100 points of chakra to increase the power of this technique is better than directly using 100 points of chakra to release other ninjutsu. Of course, how to choose can only be judged in actual combat. But the effect of this technique on Sasuke is equivalent to a weakened version of Thunder Fruit without the ability to elementalize. Not bad for Sasuke these days. Auxiliary exercises are completed, whether to continue the auxiliary exercises. Okay, continue with auxiliary exercises, and Sasuke has mastered it once. If you do multiple auxiliary exercises, wouldn't it be possible for Sasuke to directly follow the auxiliary exercises to strengthen his mastery of this technique? Then go ahead, after performing 2 auxiliary exercises again. The sound of the system sounds, to complete 3 auxiliary exercises. Open black lens bracket. Please host to name this ninjutsu close black lens bracket. Is there no 4th auxiliary practice? I have to say that the systematic auxiliary exercises are indeed very useful, and if you feel it with your heart, you can indeed feel a lot of useful things. Sasuke can feel many details. Then it's called lightning style. Let's discharge. Named after success. Open black lens bracket lightning style. Discharge, Grandmaster, close black lens bracket. 3 auxiliary exercises directly let Sasuke's control of this technique reach the level of a Grandmaster. Sasuke felt the technique carefully. The effect seems to be better than expected. Sasuke smiled. Open Eyes has already left the ninjutsu laboratory. There is a new ninjutsu lightning style discharge, and it can be released without a seal. Although the power of this technique is not too strong, the unexpected effect can definitely make this technique burst out with different power. Sasuke clenched his fist lightly. If you don't kill me again, I hope you can come quickly. ZZ. Lightning splashed across Sasuke's fist. Don't behead your lord again. You should take a good rest. Zabuzan, who was recuperating somewhere, looked at Bai standing in front of him. Enough. Bai, get out of the way. I won't just let this grudge go. But if you don't behead your lord, your injuries haven't fully recovered. I don't care if I don't beheaded, I directly raised the beheading knife. At this point, there is no need to fully recover. As he spoke, there was a ferocious look in his eyes. Unexpectedly, the ninjas that day were not sent by Kato, but Kakashi and others were still alive. That meant the 2 guys who felt strong to him that day were gone. But at the same time Kakashi was also seriously injured, and another kid even passed out. This time is the best time to deal with Kakashi and the others. Although doing this is a bit of taking advantage of others' dangers, but if you don't kill them, you don't care about these things at all. As long as the goal can be achieved, it doesn't matter what kind of means is used. It's just that Zabuzan is also very curious about who the 2 ninjas who will appear one day are. But now it is impossible to know. If you insist on going without beheading your lord again, then please allow me to take action this time. Hearing this, he hesitated for a moment. It is good. To be honest, if Sasuke wakes up, I really hope that Bai can help him hold Sasuke for a while. As long as he takes care of Kakashi, then everything will be fine. Although the kid's speed was fast, his attack power was a bit weak. Not enough to kill him. So just like last time, wait until Sasuke's own chakra runs out, then it's his turn. Furthermore, Zabuzan has already figured out how to deal with Sasuke this time. Although that little ghost is fast, if he can't find the target, there is nothing to be afraid of. So this time if you don't cut it, you have to preemptively strike. Use water style, mist shinobi technique. Use silent kills against both Sasuke and Kakashi. Towards where Sasuke and Kakashi live, this time, Zai Yuzan did not make a rash move, but carefully investigated. Nobody? Have these 2 fellows escaped? If they had escaped, it would be impossible for Kazna and the others to take them away. Did they abandon the mission? Any ninja who abandons the mission will be rejected by the village. A ninja should never give up on a mission anyway. Unless both Kakashi and Sasuke want to be rebels, it would be weird to think of not killing them here. And this time Bai came back. Don't behead me again. I don't seem to see our assassination target this time. Didn't see the assassination target? Is Darzna gone? Where will he be? Was it really taken away by those 2 people? If they take it away, then their mission to escort Darzna back this time will be regarded as a failure. And what's the use of taking Darzna away? People can run away, but the Kingdom of Waves can't. When the 2 were wondering, suddenly felt a strong momentum. From the bridge that hasn't been built yet, the 2 looked at each other and walked towards the bridge. At the same time, just in case, Zabuzan directly released water style, mist shinobi technique. Then he and Bai slowly walked towards the bridge. And when they came to the end of the bridge, it wasn't finished yet. The connection with the bridge built on the opposite side has not been completed, and there is still a distance of about 10 meters. And from a long distance, he could feel Dazna's aura even if he didn't cut it. This guy is just across the bridge, brought across the bridge. What does it mean? It was a bit confusing to not cut again, but suddenly a flash of lightning burst out. Crackling, For a moment, he didn't look at the thunder and lightning that blew across his face. Fortunately, he dodged in time, otherwise he would have been concentrated by this attack. Who? Don't ask again, but there were footsteps in the distance. At the same time, along with the roar of thunder, flashes of lightning flashed on Sasuke's body. Running up and down. Sasuke looked ahead. Water style, mist shinobi technique. When I saw this thick fog, I guessed that you had come. Since you're here, come out. Don't cut the peachland again. Sasuke's voice sounded. Zabuza frowned. He won't show up until Kakashi doesn't show up. Don't worry, Mr. Kakashi has left. This time it's a battle between me and you. Leave? Hitaki Kakashi leaving this time? What is he going to do? Ms. Kakashi entrusted you to me to deal with, but he himself is looking for our other two companions. Why, as a mighty mist shinobi ghost, an elite-level Jonin dare not even come out and talk to me, Konoha Genin kid. After being told by Sasuke, Zabuza was indeed a little angry. Carrying the beheading sword, he walked out slowly, and at the same time, the surrounding fog dissipated a lot. A Konoha Genin wants to block me, are you out of your mind? What do you mean Kakashi asked you to deal with me, so you are worthy? Konoha's Genin. Seeing Zabuzan's figure, Sasuke raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Not qualified. I don't know who it is, I was almost killed last time. The effect of bringing up the past is to make Zabuzan's complexion even uglier. You're looking for death. Brat, if Kakashi hadn't saved you last time, you would have been the nourishment for my beheading sword. Is there still a chance for you to speak nonsense here? Sasuke smiled and didn't get angry. Then this time, no one else will disturb us, we can have one-on-one. Saying that, Sasuke felt another wave of chakra. It seems that this time is not a one-on-one battle. Said Sasuke looked towards Shiro, who was about to approach him quietly. Zai Bujan was a little surprised. You can actually detect Bai's existence. It seems that you, Konoha's Genin kid, are not easy. It's not just a kid from the Uchiha clan. Now that he was discovered, Bai stopped hiding and jumped out. If you don't want to behead your lord, just leave this brat to me. Hearing this, he waved his hand again. No, I want to kill this brat with my own hands. Boy, are you alone? It seems that some don't believe that Sasuke dares to face himself alone. However, Sasuke did not intend to continue answering such boring questions. Hands up. A shuriken was thrown out directly. Swish. The shuriken slid across the face of Zabuza, and Zabuza's face suddenly became gloomy. How dare you directly challenge yourself? Court death. Hush. The beheading knife slowly swiped on the ground, rubbing out a series of sparks. Looking at Sasuke in front of him, the murderous intent to kill him became more and more intense. Very good. Although you are just a genin, I will remember your brat for your courage and courage. Your name is Uchiha Sasuke, right? You talk too much nonsense, Sasuke said lightly. If you don't chop again, your face froze immediately, then let's start. See if you can still be as tough as you are now after a while. Immediately no more cuts suddenly accelerated and rushed towards Sasuke. The beheading knife in his hand waved, making a sharp piercing sound in the air. In the blink of an eye, if he didn't slash, he had already rushed in front of Sasuke. He slashed at Sasuke head-on. The silver light flashed suddenly. When ZZZ, Sasuke held kunai in his backhand with his right hand, blocking the big sword that would never cut in front of him. Compared with before, Sasuke's strength is not weaker than Zabuza now. Even if you just use kunai, you can easily block the attack of Zabuzai. This time, I was surprised that I didn't cut it again. His strength should not be blocked by Sasuke. In the next second, Sasuke should take a dozen steps back to barely stabilize his figure. How is it possible? This guy blocked his attack so easily. Feel the power transmitted from the blade. The power of this kid. When did it become so strong? The corners of Sasuke's mouth raised slightly, and it was exactly as he thought, and his strength had also increased to a level comparable to Kakashi's, and he would never kill them again. In this way, in terms of basic ability alone, I am completely indistinguishable from Jonin. That would be fun. Only in this way can we better experiment and see how much the new ninjutsu can add to oneself. While Zabuza was amazed by Sasuke's power, all of a sudden, a flash of lightning flashed from Sasuke's arm. ZZ. A throbbing thunderbolt appeared directly on Sasuke's right arm. Crackle. Sasuke suddenly waved the kunai in his hand, and directly pushed Zabuzan back. Not cutting back a few meters before he could manage to stabilize his pace. He raised his head and looked at Sasuke again, his eyes were full of seriousness this time. Shiro also stepped forward and glanced at Sasuke in surprise. "Don't kill Mr. again, it's all right." Hearing this, he shook his head and said, "Impossible, how can this kid's strength be no less than mine? No less than Mr. Never Behead. How come? Mr. Zabuchi is elite Jonin of Mist Shinobi. Even Hitaki Kakashi, who is also an elite Jonin, can't beat Mr. Zabuchi in terms of basic strength." Bai felt it was incredible, but he also saw the scene just now with his own eyes. "Come again, I want to see how many knives you, a brat, can block me." In the next second, he rushed out without chopping, followed by a series of flashes of swords and swords. Zabuzan and Sasuke fight together. The figures of the two kept interlacing, whether it was Zabuzan or Sasuke, they both kept moving at high speed. Constantly fighting, each collision can burst out a series of sparks. And Sasuke relies on his new ninjutsu, lightning style, discharge. Strengthen the movement speed when moving, and concentrate the lightning in the hand when colliding with Zabuzan. Strengthen the strength of the part. The close quarters fight between the two, on the contrary, Zabuzao, who is called a ghost, fell into a disadvantage. The electric light on Sasuke's body kept flickering, although it was not as strong as the speed. But the remaining thunder and lightning will also leave a moving track behind. Standing in the distance, Bai looked dazzled, he even couldn't help opening his mouth, and said in surprise, "A genin of Konoha is able to start such a fierce battle with Master Zabuza. How can that be?" Say jingle, the beheading sword in Zai Byuzan's hand was sent flying. Before he could stand still, Sasuke rushed forward with a stride. In the next second, a lightning-style discharge exploded, and the chakra in his body began to surge. The direct current increased instantly, and he raised his hand and punched hard and hit him hard. While Zabuzan felt a sharp pain in his abdomen, lightning flowed into his body. Briefly paralyzed him. Then Sasuke didn't stop, and was punched away by a punch, and then the ku whooshang in Sasuke's hand gathered lightning instantly. Sasuke turned around and accelerated and threw it out. Kunai with thunder and lightning in the air, went straight to the eyebrows that were no longer cut. A cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Does this kid even know how to wrap chakra around the suffering? And also the chakra of nature transformation happened. After being enhanced by lightning style, Kunai is extremely fast, and at the same time, its power cannot be underestimated. The moment the extreme general shoots and doesn't cut it, ding. 1,000 copies were thrown out, changed Sasuke Kunai's attack trajectory. It stabbed directly at the ground beside it. Even an ordinary kunai, under the blessing of Sasuke lightning style, its power and speed are completely different. Boom. The ground was smashed and made a small movement. Lightning flows along the ground towards the surroundings. Raising his hand, Sasuke took out a kunai again, lightning style discharge. Now Sasuke can feel its power completely. The amount of chakra consumed is small, and it can also bring a certain degree of increase effect. At the same time, if the input of chakra is increased, the power will become stronger. Putting his hands together, Sasuke saw that kunai didn't hit and then he didn't cut. At this distance, use a medium-distance combat method. Thunder and lightning erupted from the palm of his hand, and shot directly at Zabuzan. And at this time, Bai appeared in front of Zabuzan, and a wall of ice crystals formed instantly. The lightning style bombarded the wall of the ice shield, directly blasting out a few cracks in the wall. Seeing this, I was stunned for a moment. Did you release ninjutsu without seals? It's fine that this kid's strength suddenly becomes stronger, but he still has an escape technique that can be used without seals. As this Konoha's genius, watching the thunder and lightning splashing from the ice wall. Byuzan's eyes trembled slightly. What happened to this kid? In just over a day, there has been an earth-shaking change from before. In terms of strength and speed, it is completely on par with me, even. Think of the lightning that erupts when Sasuke moves or attacks. It seems that because of the influence of this lightning, Sasuke's attack speed, movement speed, and strength have all been strengthened. Let him be a dignified elite Jonin, but he has no power to fight back against a genin. Even the beheading sword was sent flying by the opponent. Thinking of not beheading here, I can't calm down anymore. The pride of being a Jonin was completely crushed by Sasuke today. But at this time, Bai's complexion suddenly changed, and shouted loudly, "Mr. Don't kill, get out of the way." Next second, boom, a violent flame instantly rushed towards the ice wall following lightning style. Fire style, fire dragon explosion technique. Sasuke spit out violent flames, and these raging fires instantly turned into the image of a fire dragon in the air. Go straight to the ice wall. There was a squeak at the moment of the impact, and the next second the flames directly broke through the ice wall. Unstoppable, it directly crushed Zabuza and Bai. The flames howled. After the huge fire dragon crashed into the ice wall, it still had no intention of stopping. He continued to open his huge mouth, wanting to devour Zabuza and Bai in one gulp. And at this moment, he didn't cut and looked at the beheading sword under his feet. Kicked the beheading sword out with one kick, and hit the fire dragon directly. Of course, the knife cannot extinguish the flame. His aim is to directly attack Sasuke, who unleashes the flames. The decapitating knife swept straight towards Sasuke. And at this moment, Sasuke did stop releasing ninjutsu, and raised his hand to catch the beheading sword directly. Hold the knife flat behind your back. The arm is slightly bent, feeling the weight of the beheading knife. A gleam flashed in Sasuke's eyes. In the next second, lightning burst from the soles of Sasuke's feet. Lightning style, discharge, ZZZ. In an instant, Sasuke accelerated and rushed towards No More Slash, and rushed up again with the beheading sword. Zabuza, who had just escaped fire style, looked at Sasuke, who charged up. Still holding his beheading sword, is he planning to use his weapon to attack him? How unreasonable. Zabuza didn't have any weapons in his hand, but he also accelerated, ready to grab the blade with his bare hands. However, in the next second, Sasuke soared into the air and accelerated to complete the moment. A faint lightning flashed from Sasuke's eyes. Sharingan opened instantly, and then both arms erupted with lightning at the same time. On the arms of the electro-optical flowing knife, it was injected into the beheading sword in an instant. Thunder and lightning covered the beheading sword. If you don't cut it, the whole person is stunned. Sasuke actually fits so well with the beheading sword. Lightning style is also able to pass the knife over the beheading broadsword. In a dazed moment, he had already missed the best time to grab the knife. Crack. With a single slash, the ground collapsed instantly. A 5 or 6 meter long crack appeared. Turning over to dodge without cutting, Sasuke held up the beheading sword and continued to attack. However, compared with physical skills, Sasuke's sword skills are far worse. After evading twice in a row, Zabuza directly hit Sasuke with an elbow, and took advantage of the situation with a clever gesture to snatch the beheading sword from Sasuke's hand. In the next second, the big knife circled around Zabuza's neck. Both hands just held the turning handle of the knife, and slashed directly at Sasuke. Make an astonishing sound of breaking wind. Sasuke in the air has just landed and has not had time to stand still. The beheading knife was aimed at his neck. At this moment, I stopped laughing. Boy, your knife skills are simply too weak. Knife, not everyone can use it. Sasuke also agrees with this very much. Compared with his physical skills, his sword skills are indeed too poor. But no matter how good the knife technique is, it is not strong enough. A cloud of lightning exploded at Sasuke's feet. Accelerate directly to avoid the attack of Zabuza. And at this moment, Shiro also throws 1,000 books to interfere with Sasuke. Backing away, Sasuke grabbed the ninja bag with one hand, raised his hand and threw more than a dozen shurikens in an instant. When the sound of tinkling in the air sounded, no more chopping, ready to press up again. At this time, Sasuke's other hand was already on his chest. But, it's not a good thing to take that knife away. Sasuke smiled. It doesn't feel good if I don't cut it at this moment. Burst. Hiss. Suddenly the sound of the detonator sounded. His uncut eyes widened rapidly, and he suddenly turned the beheading sword over, and the detonating talisman was pasted on the other side unexpectedly. Boom. The sudden explosion made Zabuza instantly engulfed in flames. And the next second Sasuke landed, and let out a soft breath. Staring carefully at the flames formed by the explosion, Bai's expression was disastrous at the moment. A genin brat, unexpectedly so strong. He didn't see clearly when the detonating symbol was affixed. How did this guy do it? Don't behead your lord again. Damn it. How dare you hurt and kill master? I won't let you go. Bai wanted to do it. Sasuke has been waiting for a long time. He raised his finger and pointed behind Bai. You should look behind yourself first. Bai suddenly turned around. Swish. A black shadow punched him directly in the face. If he hadn't reacted quickly to dodge, he might have been hit directly. When I recovered and looked carefully, I realized that it was also Sasuke. Shadow clone? No. This is a lightning-style clone. When was the clone technique released? Impossible. No matter how fast he is, it is impossible for him to hide the eyes of me and Mr. Buku. There is indeed no chance to release it during the battle. But what if it is before the battle begins? Sasuke smiled. The advantage of the lightning-style avatar is that as long as it is close to the enemy, it is considered a success. Feel the taste of thunder and lightning. Boom. The lightning-style avatar exploded directly, and the lightning instantly made Bai utter a tragic cry. The lightning-style avatar this time is different. It is the avatar cast by Sasuke in full state, and directly owns half of Sasuke's chakra. It is equivalent to the lightning style that Kakashi's half chakra erupts, but the power is different. In the next second, several kunai from Sasuke hit his arm directly. The kunai attached to the lightning style increases its power and also has a paralyzing effect. Fix one first. At this time, it is very important to have one less person in the way. In just a few seconds, Bai was shocked on the outside and tender on the inside by lightning style. It turned into a black man and fell to the ground. And at this time, if you don't chop, you also jumped out of the flames. The body is also not much better than Bai. A corner of the beheading sword in his hand was also broken. The explosion of the detonating talisman was attached to the beheading sword, and such an explosion directly destroyed the beheading sword. And now he is holding the beheading sword with a corner of Honkai. Zabuzon looked at Bai, who had fainted beside him. His face suddenly became more gloomy. 2-1, and the opponent is a genin kid from Konoha. Instead, his own people were dealt with by the other party first. This is simply a lifetime of shame. He gritted his teeth lightly. Up to now, the opponent has not used that amazingly fast technique that day. Once Sasuke uses that technique, I'm afraid he may not be able to persist this time. It was originally planned that once Sasuke casts that spell, Bai will use the ice escape to interfere with Sasuke. Make Sasuke unable to perform strong attacks. This delays until Sasuke chakra is exhausted, then it's time for him to fight back. However, what I didn't expect was that it was impossible to have that time. At a time when I can't seem to find a way without thinking about it. Sasuke didn't intend to stop. He raised his hand and took out a kunai again. This time Sasuke is going to deal with it directly. Without human interference, Sasuke also seems to want to experiment with a new trick of his own. Not a new ninjutsu, but a new trick, lightning style, quick start. Zzz, crackling. The lightning that exploded in an instant was accompanied by strong chakra waves surging out of Sasuke's body. Immediately, Zabuzon's face turned pale. Sure enough, this kid planned to use this trick. Can I persist until this kid chakra is exhausted? When I was thinking about it again, Sasuke suddenly laughed. I guess you should be thinking, can you hold on to it, my chakra is exhausted, right? Sasuke guessed what was in his heart, and he didn't speak again. Instead, he continued to remain silent and adjusted his state as much as possible. I have seen lightning style's lightning quick Zabuchi, and I know how pervert Sasuke's next speed is. Unable to resist at all, he can only persist until Sasuke chakra is exhausted before he counterattacks. However, this time it's different. Sasuke smiled. This time Sasuke didn't intend to launch a blast. Because there is no need for that. With Sasuke's base speed boosted, there's no need to cast Blizzard anymore. To deal with today's Zabuzon, it is enough to use Flashlight and Fire. Although there is a gap in speed compared to Blast Thunder, it is definitely not much worse than the previous Blast Thunder. In this state, Sasuke can act according to his own consciousness. So that means, suddenly Sasuke grabbed the void with one hand. Immediately after, countless astonishing thunderbolts gathered in Sasuke's hands. Chidori, in an instant, it sounded like 1,000 birds chirping. It was only a few breaths before Sasuke's Chidori launched successfully. At the same time, the flickering lightning on Sasuke's body also softened a lot. Flash. The corners of Sasuke's mouth rose slightly. Sure enough, when the speed is activated, it does not affect Sasuke's use of other ninjutsu. God's Speed Match and Shangqinyao will be a very strong killing move. Chidori, who was originally able to enhance speed, plus the super speed that is the ultimate speed enhancement. The speed bonus brought by the superposition of two tricks is not a problem of 1 + 1 = 2. At the same time, Chidori's power is already very strong. But the problem is that you have to go in and hit the enemy. No matter how powerful the attack is, if it cannot hit the enemy, then it will be useless. But with the blessing of super speed, it will be very difficult for Chidori not to hit the enemy. Get ready. Don't kill Mr. again, Sasuke's voice sounded. No more chopping at this moment. I feel the hairs all over my body suddenly stand up. Immediately following the moment, Zabuza just blinked lightly, the next second. Ultimate's lightning flashed in front of him. At the same time, he heard the sound of thousands of birds contending. This is Kakashi's Reikari. It is no surprise that Sasuke knows Kakashi's ninjutsu. But what he didn't understand was, what happened at that moment just now? Sasuke in front of him is gone. In his field of vision, he could only see a residual electric light flashing across his eyes. Then he didn't look back and look behind him. I don't know when Sasuke was standing behind him. The moment he saw Sasuke's back, Zabuza felt a sharp pain in his chest. He lowered his head slowly. I don't know when a huge blood hole appeared in the chest. Blood gushed out frantically, and he also quickly felt that his physical strength was crazily passing away. To be precise, his vitality is gradually dissipating. So fast, didn't see clearly at all. When to make a shot, when is he being hit? He didn't even have the speed to react to the pain. Such a speed is actually the speed of a genin kid. Evildoer. The evildoer of Konoha. Crack. If you don't fall to the ground, your breath will be gone. At this time, the lightning on Sasuke's body also disappeared. He looked down at his right hand. There were streaks of blood on the arm. At the same time, I felt a tingling pain in my legs. The speed is too fast, but my body is a little unbearable. It seems that this move can only be used as a nirvana, and it cannot be used at will. Otherwise, the enemy may not die, and you will be killed by yourself first. Exercise or something is still essential. If the physical strength can be improved, then the speed should not be a problem. Again, don't behead, sir. Shiro's voice sounded, and Sasuke glanced in Shiro's direction. If you don't chop again, you will be instantly killed by yourself. On the contrary, Bai's eyes lost a lot of vitality. Bai, who was slowly crawling on the ground, came to Zabuzon's side. Seeing Zabuzon lying in a pool of blood, Bai smiled instead. Finally, you can take a break, Mr. Bujan. At this time Sasuke has left. What Bai wants to do, how he chooses is his business. Although I sympathize with this guy, he is in charge of other people's lives. Bring Dazna back. Dazna looked at Konoha's genin kid in front of him. If he didn't think 3 children could help him before. Well, Dazna doesn't think so now. Konoha's ninjas must not be underestimated even if they are little ghosts. These are monsters. As the strongest ninja village in Konoha, even ninjas like children cannot be underestimated. Fortunately, this time it was the right bet. Okay, this mission is considered complete. If you don't cut it, you're dead. Hearing that Dazna suddenly said something, but the person who hired them, Kaduo, is still there, and he may hire other ninjas to kill me at any time. That's your own business. Our mission is to escort you safely to the land of waves. The only reason I'm going to kill him is because he is an enemy that appeared during the execution of our mission, so we must kill the grass. As for whether the employer behind him will hire other ninjas, what does it have to do with me? But Dazna is very helpless now. What Sasuke said is indeed right. Whether Kato hired other ninjas to kill him is another matter. After all, the mission was to escort him back home. He didn't say that he would stay in the Kingdom of Waves to protect him. If you want to be safe in the future, you can also hire a ninja to kill him. Saying that, Sasuke glanced at Dazna with a cold smile. Dazna froze instantly. Ignoring this guy, Sasuke closed the door directly. Think about it yourself. I will wait here for my teacher and companions to come back. Dazna stood outside the door hesitating for a long time and then left. What the final decision is, Sasuke doesn't care. What Sasuke is interested in now is the fierce battle with Zabuza just now. Caused Sasuke's chakra to consume quite a bit, and at this time, the power from the curse seal seems to be faintly activated. The activation of the curse seal is secondary. The main problem is that Sasuke seems to feel natural energy. But it's normal to think about it carefully. After all, the curse seal is something developed based on the power of Orochimaru, who was born with the body of a sage. The spell seal state is actually a kind of sage mode, but it's just that compared to the sage mode learned through the 3 holy places, the curse seal mode is more capable of absorbing natural energy. But the main purpose of absorbing natural energy is to transform the body. Let the person who has been planted with the curse mark become Orochimaru's reincarnation container. And this transformation process will cause serious damage to the body. At the same time, The efficiency of using natural energy in the spell seal mode is also very poor. But now Sasuke, it feels amazing. When he tried to activate the curse seal earlier, he absorbed some weak natural energy. But the magic chakra formed by combining natural energy makes Sasuke feel amazingly powerful. Perhaps this is not yet called the magic chakra. Sasuke thinks it is more appropriate to call it the curse seal chakra. But even chakra in this state is much stronger than ordinary chakra. I've already remembered that feeling. I wonder if I can try to absorb natural energy without casting the spell seal. But now the movement of the curse seal is getting smaller and smaller. Sasuke can't feel the natural energy anymore. Recalling the original book, if you want to feel natural energy, you need the oil assistance of Mount Myoboku. At the same time, keep as still as possible. Sasuke doesn't have oil from Mount Myoboku right now, but Sasuke thinks he can try it. Stay still and see if you find anything. Entering this state is difficult for the active Naruto. But it's not a difficult thing for Sasuke. After all, when refining chakra, Sasuke is equivalent to entering this state. It's just that Sasuke at that time focused on refining chakra instead of trying to perceive natural energy. But it's different now. If you don't perform chakra refining, can you perceive it? Sasuke sat down cross-legged, less than 5 minutes. Immediately found this feeling. The mind is like Shisui while the body remains relatively still. And also trying to get back the subtle feeling when the curse seal was activated. If the oil of Mount Myoboku is a special substance, being able to apply it directly makes someone start absorbing natural energy. Then the curse seal probably has a similar principle. The strange lines produced when the curse seal is activated are also equivalent to some kind of special substance, which can assist in the absorption of natural energy. However, after absorbing it, he hesitated and didn't know how to refine it into a fairy chakra. It can only be converted by the spell seal, so the utilization efficiency of natural energy is very low. But now Sasuke is trying to get that feeling back. Attempt to absorb natural energy without passing through the seal. Time passed little by little. Even Sasuke didn't know how long it had passed, and now that he was in this state, Sasuke was not in a hurry. Slowly find the feeling. Not long after, suddenly Sasuke felt a strange energy floating around his body. This is probably natural energy. Sasuke tried to absorb it according to the way of the seal. Natural energy is a very dangerous thing. If it is not handled properly, it will immediately cause terrible consequences. But Sasuke doesn't care about that now. Perhaps unconsciously, Sasuke has also developed considerable confidence in his own talent. And it is true. Try to absorb the first wave of natural energy, and refine the natural energy by simulating the seal of the spell. Sasuke's curse marks began to change. Strange black lines appeared, slowly crawling over Sasuke's body like black flames. But at this time Sasuke couldn't feel any pain. On the contrary, the body is like a sponge, constantly absorbing the natural energy from the air. Sasuke himself didn't notice. With the change of the curse seal, Sasuke consciously strengthened the extraction of natural energy. As a result, the curse mark cannot use this part of energy to transform Sasuke's body. If Sasuke opens the seal in this way in the future, it will be equivalent to no injury. The curse seal will not play the slightest role, and the only role is probably to help Sasuke refine natural energy. But if you want to use this power to fight at Sasuke's personal refining speed, I'm afraid you have to start refining chakra 30 minutes before the start of the war. It must be used immediately after refining. Otherwise, the natural energy will dissipate quickly in the body. Sasuke spent several hours and finally successfully completed the refining. And when he opened his eyes, he already found his body, and he didn't know when he directly entered the state of Curse Seal 2. There seemed to be something trying to get out of the back. While Sasuke was in a daze, the natural energy that had been refined in his body was rapidly dissipating. Basically, it all disappeared in less than 10 minutes. This left Sasuke speechless. At the same time, the appearance of the curse seal also disappeared. Isn't this a waste of effort? Sasuke was speechless. After working so hard for so long, it turned out to be a waste of time? Although with the refining of natural energy, his refining skills have become more and more proficient. With Sasuke's talent, it can be said that he is already at the level of proficiency. If you knew it earlier, you wouldn't waste your time. However, when Sasuke was depressed at this time, chakra in the body was tossed by Sasuke. It also followed the dissipation of the curse seal chakra, and it dissipated a lot. Sasuke's chakra decreased, and the curse mark began to move around. This curse seal needs Sasuke's chakra to suppress it. The less Sasuke's chakra, the weaker the suppression of the seal. So now the curse seal is ready to move again, but at this time Sasuke had an inexplicable feeling. Can't help but activate the curse seal a little bit. Sasuke didn't feel any discomfort at first when the strange lines of the curse mark began to spread. It seems, the body has perfectly adapted to this feeling. However, when the curse mark crossed the bridge of Sasuke's nose and spread towards the other side, Sasuke immediately felt the burning sensation in his body. This force was doing something to Sasuke's body. Sasuke hastily stopped the curse mark, stabilize it at critical point. In this form, Sasuke feels no pain, and at the same time, a small amount of natural energy in the body is slowly being refined. As Sasuke's consciousness began to join, the speed of refining accelerated a lot. But the amount of this chakra is very small, probably not as much as Sasuke half chakra. But even so, the power of ninjutsu erupted with this cursed chakra is much stronger than Sasuke's original chakra. There is no doubt about it, Sasuke didn't understand. Why does the body feel pain if you continue to strengthen the power of the curse seal? But maintaining the current state will not do it. Sasuke suddenly said that when he woke up earlier, he had become the state of the second seal. Could it be that, because I refined chakra through the method of mantra? What caused some kind of active change in my body, and this change is a change in a good direction. So when the curse seal is activated, the body can already adapt to it if it is not serious. In other words, there is no injury in this state. But once the 0 point is exceeded, the curse seal will cause damage to Sasuke's body. If it's just a little bit okay, if you continue to push it and directly enter the state of curse seal 2, the damage to Sasuke's body will be very severe. If I keep practicing the chakra refining, will I finally be able to directly enter the state of the second seal without injury? The idea fueled Sasuke. The essence of the curse seal is to transform the body, and the person who has been planted with the curse seal will have a sage transformation just like Chongwu. Can directly absorb natural energy to fight. In other words, the curse seal is equivalent to a weakened version of Chongwu's sage transformation. The purpose is to provide the conditions for Orochimaru's reincarnation, but at the same time, it will also cause changes to this body. And this change is to slowly sage transformation. The state of Mantra Seal 2 is actually equivalent to a physique infinitely close to that of Chongwu. Has the ability to automatically absorb natural energy. Equivalent to another sage mode. This should not be called sage mode, it should be said to be transformed into a fairy body. Thinking of this, Sasuke became even more excited. Once I can directly open the state of the curse seal 2 without injury, it means that my body is basically about to completely complete the body of a fairy. Then maybe we can instantly turn on sage mode. It's not impossible, although the Susanoo owned by Sharingan is also a kind of fairy chakra in a sense. But if the body is sage transformation, then maybe it would be helpful for Susanoo too. Madara absorbs Hashirama's wood-style cells and possesses Hashirama's sage mode. Essentially, after sage transformation, Sharingan can reduce the burden on the body. So the power of the disguised form is naturally enhanced. And now, if Sasuke obtains the ability to get infinitely close to the body of a fairy through this method, it will also be very helpful to reduce the burden on Sharingan. Try it again and you will know whether this idea is feasible or not. Although Sasuke is a little hungry now, when he thinks of the power of the immortal body. Sasuke didn't feel like eating at all. Sasuke won't even be able to sleep if he doesn't figure this out today. After the second experiment, Sasuke slowly opened his eyes with a smile. Successful. After completing the refining for the second time, try to activate the spell seal again, and this time I am more adaptable than before. Even if the black lines cross the bridge of the nose, there is no impression at all. But when it spread towards the left arm, Sasuke felt the pain. It shows that his sage transformation is not enough. Just keep practicing. But Sasuke believes that with his talent, within a month, he will definitely be able to perfectly open the state of Seal 1. At that time, the combat power will definitely explode several times. I'm afraid that it may not be possible to directly break through the cage level at that time. Thinking of this, Sasuke is excited. Suddenly the door was pushed open. Kakashi walked in. You actually succeeded, Sasuke. Hearing this, Sasuke nodded. While looking behind Kakashi, Naruto's orange hair came into view, followed by little Sakura. Kakashi also managed to find Naruto and little Sakura.